So the plumber installed a new shut-off valve box and the quarter turn valves for the laundry, and cut a nice hole in the drywall here to do that, to solder pipes and that sort of thing. And so now I have to repair this drywall in this laundry room. But the problem is when he took off the old plastic box, it was attached to this stud, and you can see that he wasn't able to get these nails out because there are pieces of plastic behind them. So you're if you try with you don't have a lot of room, but if you try with you cannot get a hold of the nail head this way. So it's really hard. You don't have a lot of room to work because you don't want to damage the new box. And but you have to be able to get that nail out. But the plastic behind it is preventing you from getting the claw of your hammer and grabbing that. You just can't. You can't grab the nail head. So what I wanted to show you is how I got these out. I was able to get one out right here, and this one I'm working on. But with a hammer, it's not going to work. And then I thought, oh, okay, I'll use my 9-in-1 painter's tool. And maybe I can, get up underneath the plastic by jamming this in there and then tapping this end with my hammer to get underneath these pieces of plastic and maybe pull the nail head out just a little bit so that I can grab it with the claw of the hammer. Well, that didn't work either. Basically, I didn't get anywhere with this. And I can't use this part of it to grab hold of a nail and pull it out because I just don't have enough clearance. And again, the plastic that's left over is kind of in the way. So I was like, okay, how do I get these out? So I have this tool that is kind of like a pry bar. I don't know exactly what this is called, but this works great. I found that since it's angled like this, you have a way to get up underneath the plastic and underneath the nails themselves. So what I did on this one is I think I went this direction, and I just put it on there, and since it's angled, I can hit the hammer right here, smack it here. It doesn't damage my new box at all because I can be working right here, and I can hit the hammer right here and it will get underneath both of those. And that's what happened here. This one I had two side by side just like I have here, and I was able to, it really kind of, I'll zoom in a little bit. It kind of, you can see how it, whoa, that might be a little too close. You can see how it basically pulled this out and bent the nail just a little bit, and pulled it away from that stud a little bit. It was just enough so that I could get my hammer in there now and grab with the claw. And sorry, I'm trying to hold the camera and do this at the same time. It's kind of tough. Okay, this one might need a little bit more in order to get a hold of that. So let me go at it a little bit more. I'm just going to use that, and I'll work on these as well too. I'm sorry, I'm moving the camera around so much. It's hard to hold the camera and do this at the same time. So I'll work on these, and I'll get that one too. Basically all I'm gonna, I can't show you and hold the camera at the same time, but basically I'm just gonna take it like this and hit my hammer here, and it should put them in a downward motion here where I can, and see right here, I can already tell it's breaking away that plastic, see? So then I can actually get a hold of that nail head with the claw of my hammer. So let me try that real quick. So see, here I was able to, again, in the downward position here, I was able to just put the edge of this on the, where it grabs hold of that plastic, right? And then I just hit my hammer here, and I was able to see how it's bending. I'll zoom in a little bit. It's bending that nail and pulling it out of the stud. And now I think I might have it far enough out where I might be able to get in there with the claw on my hammer and grab hold of it. It is bending it down, so I might need to hit it a few more times to try and, it's still tough to get out of there. Again, trying to do this with holding the camera is tough. Okay, so I'm gonna have to work at it a little bit more. These, I did the same thing. Use the downward pressure of that, and I still can't quite get them out. So I think, because again, the plastic, I can't grab the head of the nail with my hammer, with the claw. It just won't work. But it's chipping away at that plastic. So if I just work at it a little bit more, I think I'll be able to get them out. Okay, so on this one, I did just that, but then I used the little notch in this tool to get up underneath, and you can see it's kind of just hanging there, hitting the hammer on the top. I was able to get it around the head of the nail. So now I can just, since I'm making good contact with it and I'm behind it, I can just push. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'm too close. There we go. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. So now I can just push towards the stud, and this one should come out. And it's coming out, but they're pretty long, so. And again, I don't want to damage this box, so, and I'm trying to not damage the drywall that's left as much as possible. So that's really all the further I can get it. But at this point, with that tool anyway, at this point, I have enough of it out that I can grab hold of it with my hammer, and it will yank it out just like that. So that worked. I'm gonna see, I still can't get this one quite. It's kind of close to that, close to the box. So I'm gonna try a little bit more, but I think I should be able to get it. On this one, I had to be careful because too much of a downward pressure with that tool was gonna drive this head. It just was gonna drive the head right into the stud, and then I wouldn't be able to get at it. So I stopped. I stopped with that, and I'm able to now grab the head of it. But I also want to be careful that I don't damage the drywall down here with the part of my hammer that I'm trying to get leverage with. You just want to be careful. It's kind of tricky because just angle it where you're not going to damage your drywall more. Okay, so that one's out. And so I got 1, 2, 3, 4 left. So I'm going to work on those. So these top two are a little trickier because I don't have much room. So I got the pry bar under there, right? But if I'm trying to hit with the hammer, here's my cabinetry up above. And I'm super, super close. And the clearance to swing that hammer to hit this is kind of tough. And even if I'm trying to pry, if I get underneath it, I can't really go forward too much because this cabinet's in the way and I'll damage the cabinet. So I'm going to go from underneath and basically hit the hammer. Try not to hit myself with the hammer. But I'm gonna go from underneath and see if I can get them that way. Okay, so I was able to get from underneath. I got underneath this one, and now I've got it in the notch. So I did hit my hand one time with the hammer, but it wasn't too bad. Okay, so now I'm just gonna push down. Be careful with the drywall, but because I will start to make contact with the drywall. Like now I'm up against that drywall, so I want to be careful. So I'm able to get it out far enough. See? So now I can get the claw of my hammer in there. So let me grab that. And now I'm going to do it from this direction so I don't. Did I get that one out? So there it is. Got that one out. So now I'm left with 2. Let's try to get those out. So on these last 2, I was able to get them, the heads pulled away a little bit. They still have the plastic attached, but they're pointed at a downward motion. So I'm going to try to see if I can get the claw and my hammer in there and get those. Let's do that this way. So I still don't have enough. I can't do it from that direction. Let's see if I can do it from going underneath it. Let's try this one first. I think this one might be a little easier. Okay, so the plastic is chipping away a little bit. I think whoever put this box in, the original one, back in the 80s probably, they, you can see on this stud how there's indentations from the plastic. So they nailed it in so tight that it indented this. So I think that's what part of the problem is. It makes it so hard to get these out because they put the nails in so tightly that it pushed the plastic into the stud. And this one, both of these are proving to be a little difficult, but I think, oh, okay, I'm on the head now, but I have to be careful because there's the edge of my drywall, so I don't want to, and see, look, I did make my drywall a little bit, but that's okay. But I was able to chip away some of the plastic, see? So now more of just the head I should be able to grab hold of that now. The plastic is the problem. That's what gets in the way. Okay, so that one's out. So now I am only left with this one. And I think I can, if I just get that plastic off, then I'll be able to wrap my claw around it. And again, still trying not to hit this new box too much. There we go. The plastic just popped off. So now I should be able to get the last one out. And there it is. So that's just a way to show you when you're trying to get to these difficult spots and you don't have a lot of room to maneuver with your hammer, or sometimes you can't pry with the claw, get leverage. I guess this is a pry bar. This one says Master Force. I actually didn't buy this. I had a deck replaced at one of my properties, and a couple of the guys that were working on the deck, I found them later. They left them at the property. So they're pretty handy. You just have to be careful, like when you're hammering up here and you're going into this screw or nail, be careful because this is, the tip is sharp and it will start to dig into your stud, and that's, you might not want that, so just be careful. So now it's all ready to go. So now I will be able to work to get this piece replaced. I think I don't have a stud over here. There is a pipe here that's cut. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Honestly, I can't really, I don't know what's happening there. I don't know. It almost seems like this piece of pipe is here just to support the drywall. And I don't know why that is, but down in the hole here, I do have like a U shape or rectangular shape. This pipe right here that comes down, just a couple inches into this piece of drywall, it comes down and it it takes a right turn and it goes over here, obviously to here. So, and connects to this. So there is a right angle. There's a right angle here and a right angle here. So, I think I'm gonna put a 2x4 in here, right up against where this is cut. Obviously I can't go all the way up because I have this pipe. So I might sister 2x4s together because I actually do have, there is one spot down there, you can't see it, but it does make a right angle, and then it jogs down, like in about the middle part of this, it jogs down again a little bit. There's a little bit of a drop off before it gets to this. So I need to be able to sit my 2x4 on this pipe. And once it's screwed into here, and it won't be able to move, it won't be able to shift in between these two, in the wall, in between these two pieces of drywall. So it'll stay in place. It just needs to sit right here. So I might use two pieces of 2x4, one that goes all the way down to that right angle and sits on it, okay, and stops here. And then I'll probably just put another shorter piece of 2x4 sister to it, just to kind of, on the bottom, just to kind of hold it up so it stays upright and up against, I want it to stay up against here. And that way, once the 2x4 is in there, then my new piece of drywall, I'll have something to screw it to on this side. And we don't really need here. This is just fine. And then we'll have to figure out what we're going to do here. I think I'm going to turn the camera real quick here. I think I'm going to cut this back because I did damage this corner while I was kind of prying it. There was a nail right here too, a drywall screw in there. But see how this is already damaged. So the paper on top of the drywall is damaged. So I think I'm just gonna cut it back to here anyway, and it'll be fine because it has this as a support. So it'll end up being, we'll measure to see how big that opening is, and then of course we'll cut in the center, we'll have to cut a square for the box. So the drywall fits over top of it, and then this box has a nice little cover that goes around it, a rectangular cover that will kind of hide the edges of the drywall and make it look nice. So I'm gonna go measure and we'll see what we've got. The other thing you're gonna wanna do is, like, this laundry room is really small, but see there, you can see where we're working, and then you can see we've got that cabinetry up above. But it gets kind of dirty in here, and I'm chipping away at drywall. So I've got nails and some drywall dust and stuff. So I don't want to track that all over the house. So I'm going to use a broom to kind of clean that up as I go, just so it doesn't get tracked everywhere. And you don't want to step on those nails because that will not be pretty. Okay, I think it's time for a new tape measure. This tape measure has been with me for a long time. I was measuring something once, and I was cutting, I was using scissors, and I was trying to cut through some insulation, and I wanted it to be exactly 3.5 inches wide, the piece. And so, was it insulation? No, I think it was felt paper that you put on a roof. It was felt paper, that's what it was. And anyway, I was measuring, and I had the measuring tape right there, right up against where I wanted to stop. And I was cutting with my scissors, and I got so close that I created a little notch in this tape measure, just a little notch. But over the years, using this over and over again, it has torn more. And then every time when it retracts and goes into here, it would tear that section just a little bit more, and once it goes in and out. And so look, it's actually, you can see the tape measure. Oops, sorry, that was kind of close. My tape measure is actually, can you see that? It's about done for. So whenever I'm trying to measure something, since I got a little crack right there, the end of it sometimes sags. So it's I love this tape measure though. This is my favorite tape measure. I have more than one, but this one is my favorite. And so I kind of use it more than any other ones, but you can see when I'm measuring, you know, it's supposed to be stiff, but right there at the 3.5 inch mark, because I have some damage there, it kind of gets flimsy, and that just shows I need to replace it. Okay, so basically I'm gonna measure from, I didn't cut this, the guy who did the plumbing cut that. I actually had one guy come in to replace the box, and then he said, oh, he couldn't finish the job, so another guy came in and cut it here. So that's why I have two different cuts. But anyway, plumbing I don't really do too much. A little bit, but not a lot. Okay, so we're gonna measure this, and it looks like we got right over here, we've got 16.25. So that is what I'm gonna kind of go with. Down here, we're a little bit, our measurement is a little bit different. 16, whoop, see, my tape measure doesn't want to cooperate there. We're not quite 16.25. So if I just go probably in between 16.25 and 16, that's probably going to be what I want for my width. And then my length, again, I can just go, I don't need to cut this any longer because I'm going to add a 2x4 to give me some brace. So I think if we go 25, it looks like 25 inches. We'll go about 25 inches. We can always trim it, but that's what I got for measurements. So this is what I've come up with. I did had a small piece of drywall. This is one thing you want to do before you do drywall work. Make sure you got the right size drywall for your patch. This one's 1/2 inch drywall, but I will say I'm working out in the hallway here too. I was replacing the ceiling and I used 1/2 inch drywall, but then when I got to the other side of the wall, they have 5/8 inch drywall. So the scraps, I was going to use the scraps from my ceiling, my 1/2 inch ceiling that I installed, but I can't do that because this is not wide enough. The 1/2 inch drywall is not wide enough. I need another 1/8 of an inch to make it 5/8 inch. So I have to go back to the home improvement store and buy I need one piece of drywall, a giant piece of drywall just for a little tiny section. I'll show you that in a bit, but just check your drywall width to make sure the piece that you buy is gonna fit in there right. Okay, so this is what I came up with. I don't know if you can see all of the lines, but we said right away we needed, I went just a little in between, like I said, 16 and, I know that's upside down, 16 and 16.25. I think we'll be okay if we go in between. So I measured from the top of this piece, and then I measured to the bottom, and I cut that about 16, okay? And then I measured across, I'm sorry, that was the width, excuse me. The height I measured, and I said we want to fit in the hole, I went a little less than 25. I guess it looks like 25 or 24 and a quarter, 3/4 is what I did. So let's see over here, what did I do? Yeah, 24 and 3/4, because I want it to fit in the hole. And then I measured where our box is going to be. So to do that, what I did basically is I just measured, we know our piece is going to be, see, that's what I'm talking about my, it doesn't, gets kind of limp because it's not strong, because I've got it cut right there. Okay, so I just measured, and you can see right about the 3.5 inch mark where my tape measure is damaged. That's about how far in from our into the width that our box is going to start. So what I did is I measured in about 3.5. Okay, and I did the same thing down here, 3.5, and I made a mark. And then as far as we have to figure out what is this distance, the top, before we get to the box. So I just measured over here, and I just put my tape measure there, and I was able to see about how far I need to go. Now I did cut it back just a little bit because you know, we do have a nice square border piece of plastic that goes around this, so it's going to help. So, you know, I was a little bit back from 6 there. Here, same thing, 5 3/4, okay. But I don't have to be right at 5 3/4, okay, because I'll show it to you in a bit. But there's a rectangular piece that goes across over that where the seam is. So see, I went about 5 3/4. Or close to it. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect because you won't see this seam. This seam's not going to be. Okay. And then, oh, as far as how did I get this line? Well, just measure how wide the box is. Okay. So my box is, it looks like the width is 8 3/4. 8 3/4, so I just added a little bit because 8 3/4 is what, you know, is what, how big our box is, but we want our box to fit in the hole. So I measured here, and it looks like I got, oh geez, sorry. It looks like I went at about 9 inches, okay? Because remember, like I said, the edges of this, the edges of the drywall around this, you won't see. They're going to be covered up. So I just need to cut this out. I started cutting it. I'm just using I'm using a carpet knife. Okay. That's what I'm using. This one is a Stanley. My blade is a little bit dull. Actually, you know what? I couldn't even cut myself with this blade if I want. It is so dull because I've been doing drywall and I really need to replace the blades. It's not hard to do. All I have to do is take this, use a screwdriver to take this out, and I can replace the blade. I don't have any extra blades in here. It does actually store blades inside, which is kind of nice. But I only have the one blade, so I did take this off and I just flipped the blade around, hoping that this side was a little bit sharper when I was frustrated with the fact that this thing was not cutting the drywall very well. And this is still pretty darn dull. So like I say, if I had, even if I wanted to cut myself, I don't want to cut myself, but this blade would not cut me even if well, it probably would. But it's very dull, so I wouldn't be in too much pain. Okay, so I basically just went along my lines. The problem here is I can't score this and snap it like you normally do with drywall because it's in the center of the board. You almost have to cut all the way through here, everywhere, all along where the box is going to be in order to pop this out. What you can do is, actually, you know what? I do have a drywall saw. That is what I should have done. Now that I've made my marks and I've scored it real good, I can stick my drywall saw in there, hold the piece up in the air, and saw through that. That's what I'm gonna do. I just need to find my drywall saw. Okay, I can't find my drywall saw in the garage. It's a drywall jab saw. That would make this a lot easier, but that's okay. What I did is I flipped the piece over, and we're gonna improvise. And you can kind of see, since I did cut kind of deep, you can almost start to see the lines of the box, okay, the outline. So right here, see, there's a corner right here. Not all the way across, but really all we have to do is cut this paper on the other side or score it. And then probably my square will pop out. So I'm just gonna try to gently. It's okay if this paper back here, whoa, this knife really is dull. It's okay if this paper tears back here because you're never gonna see it. So I'm really just taking my knife and going along here because I'm just completing the cut. That's all I'm doing. And sorry, I'm shifting the camera here. I'm just gonna cut the rest of the way through with my dull knife that I could not cut myself with if I tried. Okay. And I'm not sure where we end up here, but that's okay. I've got enough of it cut. There's enough of it cut. It's scored. So now I should just be able to lift it up and kind of, you want to try to protect this side because this is the side with the paper you don't want to tear. Okay, so I just popped it out, okay? There it is. Just popped out. Okay, this side I didn't really cut the paper very well, so we're just gonna do that now. It's still attached. It's not a big deal. You're just gonna score that paper real quick. I'll put the camera down so I can do that. So in order to figure out how far where I want to put my mark over here, okay, I just measured my piece of drywall that I cut. I just measured from here to here, okay, and I got, oh, it looks like it's like we could have 16 and an eighth, in between 16 and 16 and an eighth. And I did the same thing down here at the bottom. I just measured, okay, and here we've got a little bit different measurement. Looks like whoever made a cut that hole out was about, I don't know, a little more than 16 and an eighth. Not a big deal. We know it's gonna have to fit in here. So what I did is I just measured. I transferred that measurement from the top of my drywall piece and turned my tape measure around this way and measured here. This is really hard to do holding the. Okay, so then I turned my tape measure around and I just measured from there. Okay, so I'd know where I needed to put my mark over here. Okay, and I did the same thing on the bottom. So now I have this that I'm just gonna cut out. I wish I could find my drywall saw. I'm gonna have to find my drywall saw because that's gonna be too hard. Actually, it won't be bad if I just score it, but I needed a sharper knife. So I cut I cut those pieces out, and I'm still a little bit too, on this side, it's still a little too long to fit in the hole, but our box is lined up pretty well, so that's good. And this corner's good. This corner's pretty good. I might need to shave a little tiny bit off the top in order to make that fit in there. But yeah, we're just a tiny bit long here on the drywall piece. So I might just use that other line. See that what I did is I measured 16 inches, and then I measured like 16 and a quarter, and I probably should have cut on that line. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it back to that line and see if we'll be a little closer now. Okay, so I shaved a little bit more off. It fits a little bit better, but I hope you can see that, you know, this is not supposed to be perfect the first time. It's a trial and error thing. You're gonna have to just, you're not gonna get it right the first time, and that's okay. Just, you know, make little adjustments. So, you know, if I'm a little bit too, if I know, I'm a little bit long, you know, up here, then just, you know, shave a little bit off. You're gonna make a mess. When you're working with drywall, you're gonna make a mess. Just be careful with the paper on the front side of the drywall. You want to try not to damage that. But, you know, just shave a little bit off here and there until your piece fits. That's all you got to do. Now, I wanted to show you before we got too far, because if I get that piece in there and it fits perfectly, I don't want to take it out again. But before I can do that, I need to make sure I have something to fasten it to over on this side. So remember I said I have a pipe there that I think is kind of supporting this piece of drywall, but I don't have a stud here. So I need to put something here. And you can't see it, but like I said, there's a 90-degree angle down here on this pipe, and it comes over to this. But I can't put, what I'm gonna do, I cut 2 pieces of 2x4. And this longer piece is the piece that's going to span the entire 25 inches, okay, so that I could screw my drywall piece in. But I want this piece of 2x4 to stay upright. I don't want it moving around in the wall. Once it's screwed into the drywall, it won't move, but I don't want it to move. I want it to stay upright until I get my screws in it. In order to do that, since it's not actually going to be screwed to anything here or at the bottom, and it's going to be just sitting on that pipe, I'm going to use this smaller piece of 2x4 to kind of help it keep its balance, essentially. I'm just going to sister this piece to this piece, and then that will kind of help it stay upright. And I know that sounds a little, doesn't really make a lot of sense, so I'll just show you what I'm talking about here. So this piece, it'll be reversed. So it'll be like this in the wall. It'll be like this in the wall, okay? That little piece is gonna be screwed to there, and this will be my long piece that I screw my drywall screws to. Let me show you why I can't put this on the right side. I have to put the shorter one on the right side. So if I put this in the wall, well, first of all, okay, this might be a problem. It's not going to go in the wall. I didn't think about that because, well, actually I can get it in the wall. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. With all of the stuff in the way, it might be a little bit tricky. But let me put the camera down and let me see if I can get this piece of 2x4 in the wall in the first place, considering my hole is not that big and I have all this stuff in the way. It's possible I may not be able to maneuver. Let's see. We're gonna try. Okay, I was able to get the larger piece in the wall, and it, you know, it is just up against that box. So we'll have to see if I can maneuver. But what I'm gonna do, I know for sure it's too long. See, it's sitting on that pipe down there, but it's not gonna go in the hole that I made here. So I made a mark here. This one was a mistake. But I'm gonna cut it right. I'm gonna cut it off right there and see if I can get it. I may have to shave off a little bit to get it to clear this box and the side of the drywall, or I might have to shave a tiny bit off this side of the drywall to get that to fit in there. But basically I want this one to sit on that pipe. Obviously it's not going to be oriented this way. We're going to screw our, but I can't turn it just yet until I chop this off. So let's try that. I need to be able to get it in the wall. Actually, you know, now that I think about it, I probably won't be able to screw this one to it and get all of that in there. I'm not sure. We're gonna try and see. Okay, so I've made a real mess out here in the garage. I have a lot of sawdust here, but I just want to show you how I plugged in my miter saw. I'm always unplugging it after I use it. I'm always unplugging it. It's just a good, it's a good habit to get into. You just want to be careful with leaving it plugged in. That just, especially if you have it out, maybe like in the driveway, and there could be kids playing. I don't know. You don't want to take any chances of somebody pulling the trigger and doing something that might get somebody hurt. Okay, so I have made that mark there. I'm going to cut that. I have to have a support over here to hold up the other end. You want to put this up against your fence. It needs to be flush against the fence to get a straight cut. So you hold it there. You want to see where your blade is going to hit. You know, if you're going to hit right on your mark or not. It looks like right now, see, I'm not on my mark, so I need to move it to the left a little bit. So I'm going to try that just a little bit. And you know, if you want, you can wait to plug it in until you got it exactly where you want it, just to make sure that you don't accidentally hit the trigger when you don't want to. So now you can see I'm kind of on the line. The blade is 1/8 of an inch thick, so you want to account for that when you're cutting. So I want to move it back a little, just a little bit. Okay, see where we are now? Now that is perfect, because we're going to cut on the left side of the line, and that will give us what we want. I mean, this measurement is not precise, but I'm just saying if you want to make a precise cut, that's what you want to do. In this situation, I don't really care. It's just going on the wall. It's just there to support the drywall so we can screw our drywall to it. So now I'm going to make the cut, but what I'm going to do is I want to hold this board up against the fence so that it doesn't move while I'm making the cut. Now I can't do that while I'm holding the camera, so I'm going to put it down. But basically you just hold it up against there. Keep your hands out of the way as you pull the blade down to make the cut. So I'm going to put the camera down for a second. And so there, I made my cut. You don't need that piece. And again, like I said, habit, I always unplug my saw. Okay, you guys, this is proving to be a little tricky. I'll explain what I did here. So I was able to get the 2x4 in there. I did have to cut quite a bit off. And I have my smaller one that I wanted to use to kind of hold this in place so it doesn't move around on me when I'm screwing the drywall into it. It's actually sitting on that pipe. See, it's just sitting there. The tricky thing I found was that I wasn't able to make the board the length of the hole because I only have this little space. I don't know if you can see this. So here's the water pipe, okay, the copper pipe. I also have this little notch on the box, okay, that's kind of in my way. And then I have this pipe right here. So I have to, this is the only room that I have to maneuver right here to be able to turn this 2x4 to get it oriented this way so we can screw into it. So I do have to, it's in there pretty tightly, and I don't even know if I can take it out now that I got it in there. But either way, I don't really want it. I don't want it to come out. And now I kind of see it's in there really tight. So I shouldn't have turned it. Okay, there we go. I'm not going to take it out because if I take it out, I might not be able to get it back in again. It's the only issue here is I'm not going to be able to screw all the way up to the corner, but we're honestly, look, we're not that far from the top, and I'm going to have screws all the way around or on this other side. So the other thing I can do is I can add another piece. So I'm going to add this piece in there because I need to be able to, this is just kind of floating around in there, and I need it to stay put where I want it. So I'm going to stick there we go. So what I'm going to do is that's where my board is, but I'm going to take this piece also and put it in here to kind of I don't have a lot of room, but I'm going to put it in there along with this one. So I kind of made that a little diagonal so I could see if I can fit this board in there. It's a really tight fit. So maybe, let's see, maybe I have to take that one out to put this one in. Okay, so I've got that board in there. I shaved a little bit of it off. It didn't do exactly what I wanted it to, but that's okay. I mean, I probably should have taken a little bit more off, but it's fine because I have something to screw into, and this board behind it is sitting on the pipe as well, so it can't go to the right any. It can come it's actually in there pretty good, so it's not even moving. So I'm just going to leave it like that, and I just need to mark, need to find my pencil. I'm going to mark it right here so I know. Okay guys, so this is what the finished product looks like. I was able to, after all, I wasn't sure how to make that this work on this side, but I was able to get that board in there. It only came up to about right here, and I knew I needed to be able to at least put, you know, a couple more screws in. That wasn't going to be high enough. That was the length that I could only fit. That was the longest board that I could fit into the wall with that small space I had, because remember, it's going, here's where that pipe, part of the pipe is. That's like a notch for the pipe, but it actually goes down a little further, and then there's a 90-degree angle down here. My board is sitting on that pipe, and I was only able to get it up to about right here, but I knew I would need more because, you know, clearly like this screw, I would have nothing to screw to. And then of course I need something up here. You're supposed to put screws in every 12 to 16 inches. So what I did is I had another scrap 2x4, and I'll try to put a picture in here too so you can see what I did. I just stacked that other scrap board on top. And I was able to screw into it. Again, it's just sitting there until you affix it to the drywall with the screw. But as long as it doesn't move, you're good. Once you get the screw in there, it's never going to move. So I marked where my stud, where my 2x4 was at, so I would know where I could put my screw, and I make sure I hit it the first time so it didn't move or fall into the hole. And then I did the same thing down here. I marked where I knew my screw needed to go in the center of that. And then this has a cover, which is kind of nice because it hides. I actually did pretty good job cutting the hole for my... You probably could get away with just that. It looks pretty nice. You don't even really need the cover, but the cover kind of, you know, makes it look a little nicer. It hides these ends. And if you do get any water that spills over, it's not going to get your drywall wet. It does have a little bit of a tray in there, you know, a little catch. So it will go down in the drain, but it's nice to have this cover. It just makes it look nice. Sadie is barking. She is annoying today because I'm not giving her any attention. But anyway, that cover goes on there. I'm not going to put it on right now because I want to clean this out a little bit. It got a little dirty in here just from the dust. And I want to get a clean rag and wash that out real quick. And then I'm going to put the cover back on. Then we just have to finish this. That is the hard part. The finishing of the drywall is the hard part because you need to use paper tape on the seams. And then we have to put drywall spackle underneath the tape and then also above the tape. And this is called a butt joint because these two pieces of drywall are equal in thickness. So those are a little harder to do than if you have a tapered end of a piece of drywall that you're fitting in. Yeah, I'm not a master at drywall, but you know, this is the laundry room, so I'm going to take a stab at it and see how we do.